I mean, I thought I was a good mom. Not perfect, but pretty good.
God ate Eve from the river there.
Maddie, listen to me. You have to cooperate with me. We had 30 minutes to get our kids ready. They had to be stretched. We had to put French twists in their hair, fake eyelashes, all their makeup. It was crazy. Maddie, you have one number to dance, and that's it. You're gonna deal with it. Be a grown-up.
Don't come crying, Mother knows best.
A mother is the most loved and endeared figure in the household. They are known for the selflessness in giving everything away and sacrificing a lot of things in raising a child. I think this sentiment is carried throughout a lot of cultures, as even the word mothering has become synonym with the verb that means to treat a person with kindness and affection and trying to protect that person from difficulties or dangerous situations. But in reality, maternality and motherhood is a complex relationship, especially between the child, specifically daughters. I want to read a quote from Adrienne Rich of Woman Born: Motherhood as Experience and Institution, because I think it's such a beautiful quote that perfectly encapsulates what it means to be a mother and a daughter. Adrienne writes, "Probably there is nothing in human nature more resonant with charges than the flow of energy between two biologically alike bodies, one of which has lain in amniotic bliss inside the other, and one of which has labored to give birth to the other. The materials are here for the deepest mutuality and the most painful estrangement. Patriarchy, defined as a system perpetuating male dominance, significantly influences societal norms, expectations, and power structures." The struggle really begins and really sets the foundation for the topic that I want to talk about, when the societal expectation placed on mothers who find themselves navigating the demanding space of motherhood and conforming to traditional gender roles, of them trying to fit in the image of the subservient wife or good mother. Balancing career and their passion with family becomes a delicate act, and sometimes mothers are shamed into letting go of their careers as a whole in order to become the perfect mother. And I really think that this pressure to meet expectations perpetuates stereotypical gender roles, setting the stage for emotional turbulence and projection to the most similar figure and character in this household, which is the daughter.
Here's your daughter. These are things you have said to your daughter. You take this, look at her and read that first line.
You used to be so much thinner.
That's her self-esteem.
Your clothes are getting tighter around your thighs.
Look at her every time you say it.
You need to change your clothes. Your stomach is hanging out.
Look at her.
Do you really need to eat that?
Now, this video wasn't made in mind to shame struggling mothers, because as we know, the act of motherhood is difficult, it's hard, it's the most stigmatized role that a woman can take, it's the most expected role a woman can take. But at the same time, something that's so commonplace, something that's so expected of us to do, is also not addressed enough in making sure that we go through this motherhood in a healthy and sustainable way. But in fact, we're shamed. If you're not a mother, you're shamed, but if you are a mother, you're a bad mother. So it is not integrating their efforts in becoming mothers. As we know, there's already a lot of media covering that.
You don't even know what she needs because you don't know her. You've never tried to know her, just like you never knew me.
Oh, I know you.
Oh, please, you don't know anything about
This video is made to shine a light on the struggles of motherhood and the complexities that come with it, especially regarding the mother-daughter conflict, which we often fail to address, but at the end of the day is the most impactful towards a woman's psyche. Every mother was once a girl, every girl was once a daughter, and day by day, and more so, the cycle perpetuates itself. The discussion often revolves around daddy issues or fathers, and feminist conversations have become so men-focused that I want to make this video as a way of redirection towards things that really matter and addressing the issue and work on it to make sure that it doesn't continue with the next generation. Gwen Raimondi mentions in her article, "What I have come to realize is that the strife and frustration and trauma of the mother relationship is both an act of survival and an act of oppression. The mother-daughter conflict arises when a mother begins to project her insecurities and expectations on the daughter as her own fulfillments are unmet. Feelings of animosity arise in a mother who sees her daughter as her own mirror, as she begins to perpetuate the stereotypical gender roles that has been oppressed on her. A mother that becomes the weapon or an enforcer of the patriarchal system in the household is a far more insidious and more effective one than compared to a father. Because although misogynist behavior from a toxic father is commonplace, a mother wound emerges because of a wound from the mother herself when she was a girl. As women, bearing the role of motherhood has always been tied very closely with traditional gender roles. And where some girls are being pressured into bearing the burden by societal expectations with sacrifices uncomparable to the father. Without addressing this issue, the mother's burden becomes hers to carry alone, which might lead to less healthy ways of coping. After all this while of handling her own personal pain, when gifted with a daughter, they might choose to project all of this emotional trauma onto somebody that is most similar to her. Perhaps negative feelings of resentment, jealousy, as daughters are direct projections to what our mothers were or wish to be or wish to get back. They project, punish, and enforce the same outdated thinking and oppression that they previously went through, in a way putting expectations on the girl to act more like herself, like the mother themselves, to be a mother, prolonging the cycle of intergenerational trauma. Basically, expectations to be a mother is put on a girl. The girl succumbs to that, becomes a mother, and when they have a child again, they have jealousy of something that they had to let go of with a daughter and projects on the same expectations on their daughter as the cycle continues.
Bus is gonna be here in 10 minutes. Is that what you're wearing?
Is there something wrong with it?
It's just so mannish. I'm just saying it wouldn't hurt if you dressed a little more girly. You know that's what boys like. They don't like whatever this is.
In Sean Spears' video called Daddy Issues, Misogyny, and the Pinnacle of Male Privilege, which I highly recommend you to watch by the way, she speaks upon the Oedipus, She speaks upon the Oedipus complex, the male version of the psychoanalytic theory called electra complex, that I will speak upon shortly. The psychoanalytic theory of electra complex serves as a lens through which we examine the psychosexual conflict between mothers and daughters within patriarchal systems. I feel like it's important to emphasize that the electra complex, as proposed by Carl Jung, is a backwards and outdated theory and frankly quite sexist. The usage of this theory in this video is not to solidify Sigmund Freud's and Carl Jung's sexist ideas, but instead to highlight how these expectations have been around here for quite a while until they have developed into these school of thoughts. In Carl Jung's theory of psychoanalytics, the electra complex is a girl's psychosexual competition with her mother for possession of her father. I know how it sounds like. When I was reading this, I was like, what is this bro yapping about? I digress. As a psychoanalytic term for daughter-mother psychosexual conflict, the electra complex derives from the Greek mythological character called Electra, who plotted matricidal revenge with Orestes, her brother, against Clytemnestra, their mother, and Aegisthus, their stepfather, for the murder of their father Agamemnon. But when you read through the actual Greek mythology, there were no actual incestuous elements or sexual motives behind Electra wanting to murder her mother. It was plainly just because both of them plotted murder on their father Agamemnon. But of course, Sigmund Freud and Carl Jung just decided to insert some incestuous motives into there to make up this theory. Following this theory, there's a lot of misogynist ideology, such as penis envy and phallocentric beliefs, in which I would rather not highlight. But something that I would like to point out is the psychodynamic nature of mother and daughter, where these two men fervently believe that there is a competitive drive between mother and daughter to vie for the validation and attention from the male figure in the household, whether it be the father or maybe the son. Not only that, something interesting to note, which segues to our next topic of discussion, is the Freudian cover-up, where author Florence Rush notes that the female Oedipus complex, or called electra complex, of being a tool to cover up sexual abuse of children by their parents, particularly by their father. Rush writes that when Freud's female patients told him of being abused as children, he first took them seriously, resulting in the Freud's seduction theory that mental illness is called by sexual abuse. However, Freud became quite uncomfortable with the implication that, sexual abuse is widespread. Of course, after that, he replaces it with the Oedipus complex theory instead, which allowed Freud to dismiss women's story of childhood abuse as imaginary, writing, "I was able to recognize in this fantasy of being seduced by the father the typical Oedipus complex in women." So, what does this theory really show us? And from the debunking of the theory by several feminists and also the author Florence Rush, is that men or society have been putting this expectation on women to compete with each other in despite of them being mother and daughter, even when there's trauma and abuse happening to the mother themselves. But instead of addressing it and healing with it and stopping at the current generation, they project it on their daughters instead. And this is how the cycle continuously perpetuates in our society. You're weirded out on why society is so sexist. Maybe in the household, your own mother figure is being the enabler to this sort of ideas perpetuating.
So I'm going to talk to you, and I just wanted to talk about why a lot of the times our mothers are our biggest enemies in a way. Why do so many mothers hate their daughters? Why do so many mothers act like they hate their daughters? I just don't get it. I just got...
Addressing the childhood abuse and intergenerational trauma being brought up by the author Florence Rush, specifically from mothers to daughters, it's been found through epigenetics that we carry our experiences with us. We carry it in our cells, we carry it in our genes, and in what makes us humans. When an individual endures a traumatic event or experiences, it actually changes our genetic makeup. As a result, the way they are wired to think, feel, and respond to stress is altered. When they have children of their own, the psychological trauma repeat due to the genetic predisposition and learned behaviors. And in a way, it's crazy. This means that internalized misogyny and overall patriarchy, trauma, abuse has been hardwired to our genetics. Hating ourselves for how we are as women and passing it down is innate in our identity. For instance, if your mother was exposed to violence and chose to cope through drugs or alcohol, you will be predisposed to abusing substances and may have a pattern of being exposed to violence. Unless we or our previous generations learn new ways to respond, our body will innately repeat what it's been programmed to. The bond between a mother and a daughter is said to be second to none. From this establishment as a nurturing hand or loving figure is where the ideology that mother knows best comes from. Young women are consistently subjected to cynical comments in the name of love. The ideologies of womanhood are thrust onto young girls not only by society but also by mothers. The ideologies of womanhood are eventually developed into ideas regarding what a woman should be. Phyllis Chesler in Women's Inhumanity to Women mentions that being shamed becomes confused with being loved. A constantly critical mother is not teaching her daughter how to establish interpersonal integrity within an intimate space. Rather, she is accustoming her daughter to humiliation at the hands of another woman. I feel like at the end of the day, it will come back to this. It's just another hurt woman putting another girl down on the expense of catering to male expectations and fantasies. I honestly hate the term pick me girl, as it's just another term being used to degrade women. But imagine having that personality as your mother. With internalized misogyny, which I think is a much appropriate term compared to pick me girl, it's essentially the same thing. Through degrading women for their behavior, they place themselves on a holier-than-thou platform and thus continue the cycle from the now insecure daughter vying for more male validation. Although both of them are victims from the results of society's expectations and previous pressure from female family members, these girls fail to recognize the abuse and internalize it. Naturally, from this comes the term of boy moms and the like, where they far more treasure the son over the daughter, the male figure in the household over the female figure. This is seen from cultures all over the world, where daughters are deemed as shameful, meanwhile sons are deemed as blessings from the gods and can continue the family's lineage. Over and over again, from society and culture, the daughter learns that they are of inferior value, and as a result of that insecurity, they are doomed to continue the cycle of the toxic mother. Hi guys, so I just want to say thank you so much for this thank you so much for watching until the end, and I really hope you enjoyed this video. So sorry my light died out by half of it because I don't know why, the battery is running out I think, but I'm really excited. Yeah, this is my light, by the way. It literally looks like there's no difference if there's no light here, but yeah, I'm really happy with this video. And yeah, let me know what any more topics you guys want me to do, and I'll consider it and I'll write it down because it takes me some time to write the script for it. But I still hope you guys really enjoyed this video, and make sure to like, subscribe, and comment your thoughts on it, and if you've gone through something like this, and to give solidarity to one and another. Thank you guys. Why did it I don't know why, but the light suddenly died, so I don't know how to use light from here. What the frick?